Every morning the sun rises without asking whether it feels like rising. It simply rises. Nature follows its rhythm, not its mood. The warrior does the same. We live in a world where people wait for motivation to strike, for inspiration to arrive, for the mood to feel right. But feelings are fleeting. They come and go like the wind. If you train only when you feel good, if you focus only when you're inspired, then you're not walking the path of a warrior. Discipline is the shield. Routine is the blade. These two, not emotions, forge the warrior spirit. A true warrior builds their life, not on motivation, but on structure. A morning routine, a training routine, a mental routine. These repetitions, over time, become the roots of your inner power. Many say, I don't feel like it today, but the warrior asks, did I commit to it? If yes, there is no question. The feeling is irrelevant. The body moves. The mind follows. Think of the monk waking at 4 a.m., not because he feels like it, but because he chose to live above his feelings. Every repetition, every ritual, carves strength into the spirit. So don't wait for the feeling. Build the structure, build the rhythm, build the routine. That is how warriors are built. Not through emotion, but through endurance, structure, and daily repetition. What you do daily, you become permanently. Feelings are visitors. Discipline is your home. In the world we live in today, it is easy to believe that emotions should govern our actions. We are often told to listen to your heart, follow your passion, or do it only if it feels right. While these phrases sound poetic, they are also misleading. Emotions are visitors. They rise, stay briefly, and then pass. They are not foundations. They are fluctuations. Relying on feelings to dictate your effort is like building a house on the surface of a river. Today you may feel strong, energized, and focused. Tomorrow you may wake with resistance, fatigue, or fear. If your path depends on your emotional state, you will remain stuck in cycles of inconsistency. But the warrior, the disciplined individual, sees emotions for what they are, signals, not masters. He does not allow them to interrupt the rhythm of his practice. Feelings are not to be ignored, but neither are they to be obeyed blindly. The untrained mind believes that feeling bad is a reason to stop. The trained mind, however, sees that discomfort often signals growth. When you remove your dependence on motivation, you also remove the excuse to delay. It is a silent shift, yet it changes everything. You begin to live intentionally, not reactively. In the Shaolin Temple, routines are not questioned based on how one feels. The bell rings at 4:00 a.m. and the monks rise, not because they are excited, but because it is time. There is a sacred order in that structure. It teaches the body and mind that inner strength is born through consistency, not comfort. Whether the monk is tired, sore, or distracted, the form is followed. This devotion to repetition is the secret to mastery. Routine, when properly understood, becomes a kind of internal compass. It brings rhythm into chaos, balance into the scattered mind. A routine does not care whether you are happy or sad, confident or insecure. It is a silent discipline that anchors you. The moment you say, I will train every morning at 6 a.m., no matter what, you are drawing a line between who you are and who you are becoming. Every time you follow through on that promise, even when you don't feel like it, you are building a deeper kind of strength, one that does not depend on circumstance. In that moment, the feeling may be weak, but you are strong. And this quiet victory repeats daily. Over time, the person who acts from commitment will always outlast the one who acts from emotion. Let us reflect on nature. The sun does not rise later because it feels lazy. The rivers do not pause because they feel uninspired. The bamboo grows upward each day with no concern for how it feels. There is a natural law at play, and it favors rhythm. The warrior learns to live in alignment with that law. He builds systems, rituals, and order into his life. Not because life is predictable, but because his internal compass must remain steady even when the world is not. Routines do not remove the ups and downs of life. They simply provide a grounded response to them. And so the warrior's strength is not that he never feels fear, doubt, or exhaustion. His strength is that he does not give those feelings the power to decide for him. In a world led by fleeting emotion, the one who honors routine becomes unshakable. Discipline is not a punishment. It is not something that restricts your freedom. In fact, it is the path that leads to your highest freedom. Without discipline, we are slaves to our impulses, pulled in every direction by distractions, laziness, or fear. But with discipline, we gain the ability to choose our path consciously. True strength, both physical and mental, is not given. It is cultivated, and the soil in which it grows is repetition. When you engage in a disciplined routine, day after day, your actions carve out not only your body and your skills, but also your very identity. You no longer just train, you become a practitioner. You no longer simply focus, you become focus. It is through these repeated actions that your inner character is forged. In the beginning, every routine feels uncomfortable. The mind resists, the body complains. But this resistance is not a barrier, it is a gatekeeper. And discipline is the key that unlocks it. Each time you rise early when your body wants to rest, each time you step into training when your mind wants to escape, you send a clear message to yourself. I am not my weakness. I am not my doubt. And over time, that message becomes your truth. Strength is not measured only in physical form. It is measured in the ability to act in spite of resistance. It is the ability to keep your word to yourself when no one is watching. And there is no shortcut to that. Only discipline builds it. Only routine proves it. Routines, when honored with consistency, develop not only your muscles but your virtues. Patience, perseverance, humility, and focus. These are not just ideas. They are traits that grow through action. A daily practice forces you to confront boredom, fatigue, and frustration. But within that confrontation lies the transformation. You learn to stay calm when things are not perfect. You learn to push forward when results are not immediate. You learn to respect the process rather than chase the outcome. That is the way of the martial artist. That is the way of the monk. And that is the way of anyone who seeks lasting strength. Not in the noise of motivation, but in the silence of daily effort. There is a sacred power in doing something difficult, repeatedly, without needing applause or recognition. That is where the warrior's character is built. In stillness, in routine, in discipline. The greatest battles are not won in the arena. They are won in the quiet hours, when the decision to keep going must be made again. The sword does not become sharp after one strike on the whetstone. It must be shaped, refined, and polished over time. So it is with the self. And just like a sword, the more often it is forged in the fire of routine, the more unbreakable it becomes. Strength and character are not built in a moment of greatness. They are built in the unnoticed moments of discipline, stacked one upon another, until the result is not just a powerful body, but a powerful life. One of the greatest differences between a warrior and a wanderer lies in their relationship with commitment. The wanderer acts when he feels like it, when the mood is right, when circumstances are comfortable, when emotions are high, but the warrior moves with purpose regardless of how he feels. His commitment is not fragile, it is not conditional, it is rooted in a decision made long before the discomfort arrived. In this modern age, many people confuse inspiration with commitment. They think that to stay on a path, they must always feel motivated, always feel energized. But this is not the path of mastery. The warrior understands that mood is unreliable, and if his actions are tied to it, his destiny will always be unstable. So he detaches from emotion and attaches to principle. Imagine a martial artist training in silence, bruises on his arms, breath heavy in his chest. No one is cheering. There is no audience, but still he shows up. Every day. Why? Because he made a commitment to himself, to his path, to something greater than fleeting motivation. This is where transformation begins. When your actions are tied to how you feel, you will only act when life is easy. But commitment demands you to move forward. When everything inside of you wants to turn back, that is what separates the ordinary from the disciplined. The warrior doesn't wait for alignment with his emotions. He creates alignment through action. And when you choose to act, not because you feel good, but because you said you would, that is the moment your spirit sharpens like steel. There is great power in keeping a promise to yourself, especially when it's hard. Every time you honor your commitment despite your mood, you take control of your mind. You teach it that you are the master, not the servant of passing emotions. A weak mind will always search for excuses. I'm tired. It's not the right time. Maybe tomorrow. But the committed mind doesn't bargain. It remembers the reason, not the resistance. The monk does not rise at dawn because he feels like it. He rises because discipline has replaced preference. He acts from a vow, not a feeling. In this way, the routine becomes sacred. It becomes more than a habit. It becomes a form of spiritual alignment. A warrior's actions are predictable, not because he is mechanical, but because his values are non-negotiable. Life will always present you with challenges, distractions, and inner storms. Your mood will shift like the weather. But your path, if it is built on true commitment, will remain steady. This is not a denial of emotion. It is the mastery of it. A warrior does not suppress what he feels. He simply does not give it authority. The commitment is the compass. It does not matter if it rains or shines, if applause comes or not. The path is the same. In the moments when your body aches and your mind resists, you must remember this is the test. Not the test of how strong your body is, but how deeply your commitment runs. Because the truth is simple. Mood may get you started, but only commitment will carry you through the storms. And the one who walks in commitment becomes unstoppable. Not because he never feels weak, but because he refuses to let weakness decide. The true purpose of a routine is not just to structure your day, but to condition your mind. It creates a rhythm that builds resilience, slowly, silently, but powerfully. When you follow a routine, even in the face of fatigue, frustration, or emotional noise, you are training more than your body. You are strengthening the will. You are forging a relationship with discomfort, one in which you do not run from it, but walk alongside it. Many people wait for their minds to feel strong before they act, but that is not how strength is developed. Strength is built by acting. When the mind feels weak, the routine gives you the opportunity to meet resistance every single day and say, I continue anyway. And each time you do, your resilience deepens. Not just for training, but for life. Mental resilience is not something you wake up with. It is not gifted. It is earned through repetition, through deliberate friction. It is in the moments when everything inside of you says, stop, and yet you proceed. That is the quiet battlefield where mental endurance is built. Routines force you into this space regularly, and this is not punishment. It is preparation. In life you will face adversity, uncertainty, and change. You will be tested in ways that are far beyond the training hall. The mind that has been sharpened through routine will not break under pressure. Why? Because it has already faced resistance in controlled settings. The daily repetition becomes a form of armor, not to harden you against life, but to stabilize you within it. That is the true gift of routine, not perfection, but preparedness. At the same time, routine builds physical consistency, which is the foundation of mastery. You cannot expect your body to grow stronger, more skilled, or more agile if you only train when you feel like it. Physical progress demands rhythm. Just like water shapes stone not through force, but through continuous contact, your body responds to repetition over time. When you commit to a consistent practice, Whether it is martial arts, strength training, or simply walking each day, you are giving your body a message: this matters, and the body begins to adapt. It becomes more efficient, more durable, but more importantly, it begins to trust you. The body knows when you keep your promises and when you break them. A disciplined routine restores this trust, building a body that listens because you have shown that you lead. In the Shaolin tradition, repetition is sacred. The same movement is practiced not 10 times, but 10,000 times. Why? Because each repetition carries energy, each repetition refines control, and each repetition becomes an imprint on the nervous system. Physical consistency leads to what we call effortless effort, a state where the body no longer resists discipline, but flows with it. This is not achieved through bursts of energy or occasional motivation, but through the quiet power of daily commitment. Over time, the body and the mind begin to synchronize. The routine you once had to force becomes a natural part of your identity, and from this unity, great things emerge, not through sudden transformation, but through deliberate, consistent action. This is how warriors are made, resilient in mind, consistent in body, through the quiet force of routine. Mastery is often misunderstood. Many think it is achieved through sudden breakthroughs, grand moments, or extraordinary talent. But true mastery, whether of the body, the mind, or the spirit, comes not through the dramatic but through the consistent. It is built quietly, patiently, and humbly through the things you do every single day. There is no secret formula. The highest levels of transformation are rooted in repetition. The Shaolin monk does not become skillful by practicing when it is convenient. He becomes skillful because he repeats, refines, and honors the same movement, the same breath, the same posture, day after day, year after year. The repetition is not mindless. It is mindful. With each cycle, the understanding deepens. The connection between movement and awareness sharpens. This is the unseen process that produces visible results. In this repetition, something far greater than skill begins to emerge. When you do something deliberately and repeatedly, the surface level fades away, and the spirit begins to speak. You begin to hear not just your thoughts, but the truth beneath your thoughts. The practice becomes a mirror. Each day, as you return to the same routine, be it meditation, physical training, breath work, or mindful movement, you begin to see your patterns, your fears, your distractions, your progress. And slowly, this repetition reveals the parts of you that were hidden. This is the path to spiritual mastery, not through abstract philosophy, but through tangible practice. Repetition humbles the ego, silences the noise, and builds a quiet inner strength that no one can take from you. Physically, repetition sharpens form, improves strength, and develops precision. But even more profoundly, it teaches control and patience. To perform a movement 1,000 times is to learn its rhythm, its subtleties, its purpose. It is not just your body learning the movement. It is your entire being becoming one with it. The reason Shaolin monks move with such fluidity and grace is not because they are gifted, but because they have surrendered to repetition. They have bowed to the discipline of doing it again, and again, and again, and again, and in doing so, they have created harmony between the body and the mind. This is where physical mastery is born, not in variation, but in committed repetition. The move becomes meditation, the breath becomes aligned, and the practitioner becomes whole. The modern world craves quick results and instant change, but true transformation laughs at urgency. It belongs to those who are willing to show up daily without needing constant reward. Daily repetition is not glamorous. It is not loud, but it is sacred. Every time you repeat your practice with presence, you are carving out a new reality within yourself. You are training the nervous system, taming the restless mind, and awakening the quiet strength of the spirit. Over time, the daily act becomes a ritual, the ritual becomes a sanctuary, and that sanctuary becomes the foundation of your power, not because others see it, but because you feel it, you live it. This is the path of the master. This is the way of the warrior. Repetition, honored with awareness, becomes the doorway to the deepest kind of freedom. When you rise each day and follow your routine, even when the mind resists, even when the body is tired, something within you changes. It is not loud, it is not immediate, but slowly and without your noticing, your spirit begins to strengthen. You become someone who does not wait to feel good, to do what is necessary. You become someone who does not negotiate with weakness. You become someone who is free, not because life is easy, but because you have trained yourself to meet it with strength. Routines are not prisons. They are paths. They are not limits. They are structure for expansion. And when you honor your path, day after day, you no longer need to search for motivation, because you become the source of your own power. So do not ask, do I feel like it today? Ask instead, did I commit to this? And then act quietly, firmly, consistently. The warrior is not built in a moment of intensity, but in the stillness of repetition. Feelings fade, but what is built through discipline remains.